Hello, and welcome to the Caffeinated Librarians, Mayapack Public Library's pop culture podcast. And today we are going to be continuing our romantic comedy series with my pick, Phantom Thread. And first, let's just get introductions out of the way. I'm Joe.
I'm Lewis.
Katie.
Amanda.
Ben.
And Annalisa.
All right, and
The dream team.
Is this a romantic comedy? Well, whatever. Maybe I bent the meaning a little there, but there's a romance in it, and I laughed. So
I don't know where to begin. I would have never watched this movie. It seemed like the driest, most boring thing through the trailer. I love Daniel Day-Lewis. He's like the standard of the greatest actor and all that. But I would have never, ever gone to see this. This was the most, I felt swept up. Like the movie was carrying me from the first shot. P.T. Anderson, I think you even mentioned this over a year ago talking about this movie on this podcast, how he just broke levels of directing quality. I was blown away. But also, can I just say this out of the gate? Daniel Day-Lewis deserved his Oscar nomination. But he was eaten alive in every scene by Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
Leslie Manville?
Leslie Manville, yeah.
Yeah.
She was the best actor in the whole movie.
Cyril's such a commanding presence in this. To give a little plot rundown quick, Reynolds Woodcock is a renowned dressmaker in 1950s London, and he sort of runs his business with his sister Cyril, who is very, very tough. She knows her, and she's in charge. He has terrible relationships with women. And
people in general.
Yes, yeah. He's an extremely fussy and annoying man-child. And he falls for a waitress named Alma, who he makes his muse, but Alma has a strong will. And Alma is going to love him the way she wants to.
She's going to change it. She's like, I can fix him.
Oh my God. The way, I don't want to jump to the ending, but that sick way everybody gets what they want is I couldn't.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
we'll spoil it later.
I'm in the same boat as Ben. I never would have watched this movie. Joe had actually recommended this movie several times throughout since we've known each other.
It's a minor obsession of mine.
And this prompted me to finally watch it. And you know that opening shot of Alma sitting there with just the fire flickering, you're almost like, oh my God, this is going to be like a psychological thriller or something like that. It hooked me right there. And then when I realized that it was, while I agree, I think romantic comedy might be a bit of a stretch. Mm-hmm. When I realized that it was more on the comedic side was when Reynolds first, the girlfriend that you see him with at the beginning is sitting there, and then when she leaves, they're basically like, oh, let's give her a dress as severance. I was like, wow, okay. And then you get right into it and you realize the kind of person that Reynolds is.
That scene where Alma brings him tea and he's like, why are you doing this? What are you bringing this tea for? And he's like, please take it out. And she's like, it's leaving. He's like, please, whatever. It's too late. And
the tea is leaving, but the
distraction is still here.
Right here with me.
He's such a...
He's a petulant child.
Yeah.
So the breakfast scene is my favorite, though, where she's making all the noise.
All right.
But yeah, we talked about this. She's being kind of annoying.
She's so annoying. I don't blame him. First off, all right, I mean, how toasted is that bread?
That was toasted.
What are you doing, Alma? And then when they, again, jumping way forward at the end when they're eating breakfast together, also, she's biting the spoon.
On the honeymoon?
Yeah.
Where he looks like he wants to jump off the cliff in Lake Como.
I wanted to, too.
That's my ick.
I was like, this woman is so annoying.
She's doing it on purpose.
I'm kind of on her side, though. I feel like if you want to have silence, you should be eating alone.
Fair.
You're at the table. People are there, and there's butter and toast.
Still, no one taught her table manners, at all.
Well, she's not from a posh like Silver Spoon Family, where
She was still handling her cutlery
that
the
she
proper
has.
way. She was still handling cutlery like she was posh.
You know what?
Look, some people make peanut butter jelly sandwiches the wrong way, and there are people who do it the right way by using. Look, everyone has their pet peeves. It's an analogy I use in my life because my sister is terrible at making like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. She takes a piece of bread and she just goes like this with a knife for the peanut butter. Some people just weren't taught how to do things properly.
Well,
but
she was
they're
still
trying their
eating
best.
The dinner, she was still eating her food proper
What's the
cutlery.
way? Like, I put peanut butter to the edges of both
You're
slices
supposed to like
of bread.
smear it,
And
like
then I put the
smear
jelly
it.
on top, and then I put it together.
Smear it.
So
That's
nicely.
a big brain
It
strategy.
doesn't get
I've
soggy
been,
because
I've just been doing one side peanut butter, one side jelly.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like the best
That's
way
what
to do
I've
it is
always
to
done.
never eat peanut butter and jelly.
See,
I don't want them mixed together.
You don't like peanut butter and jelly?
He doesn't, and it's weird.
It's
That
okay.
is
I
weird.
only
It's
like
okay.
peanut butter
For a long
sandwiches.
time, I didn't
don't
like
jelly.
them
Not 6
It's a
years
texture
old.
issue.
They're a midnight
Wait,
soda.
you have a
Yeah.
texture issue with jelly, not with peanut butter?
Hold on,
Yeah,
but
but
my
I
peanut butter
eat
and jelly
smooth-
is very nice, high quality peanut butter with a Marion blackberry jam. Like, that is not.
Oh, you got the high class peanut
It's
butter
not
and
like.
jelly.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not
I'm just-
7.
I'm normal.
I think this is showing us there's a little Reynolds Woodcock in us all.
There's always something that's going to annoy somebody else, especially when you're starting a new relationship and you especially don't know the person you're dating. This is like a one night stand turned into a relationship kind of deal. It's like, I didn't really know you, but why don't we date?
Amanda, you were mentioning that she's not from like a posh upbringing.
Yeah.
And one scene that really jumped out at me this time, I've seen this movie a bunch, but I never really thought twice about it, is that scene when the princess is in the house to get her wedding dress made. And Alma goes up to her and starts talking to her, and the princess is kind of like, what is this? Like, she's giving polite enough responses, but she's like, really? Like, why is the servant talking to me? And then Alma's just like, I live here. This is my house. Like,
Oh, interesting. See, I didn't read it that way. I read that scene more like she was threatened by how beautiful the princess was.
I think that's part of it too, but I do
Yeah.
think Alma wants to pull like, hey, like, this is my house. Like, you're my guest.
She's now the hostess.
Yeah.
It's her. She's trying to. So throughout the entire thing, as much as we see Alma being annoying as she is trying to get a level of control.
I didn't think she was annoying.
That's how I saw it, was
Yeah.
her getting.
They
a
thought
level
she
of
was
control.
annoying.
Yes.
They're wrong.
They are wrong. She's like, from that scene alone, it's like she's already solidifying her place as no. This is, even though we might not be married, this is my house. She knows where she is, and she knows how to get what she wants, and pushing buttons is her favorite thing to do.
Perfect example of Alma's power plays. Early on, when she's relegated to sleep in her own room. Her and Reynolds can't share a bedroom yet. And then they're at that dinner, and Reynolds is mean to some people who like are fans of his, and Alma is just like making eyes at him. And then there's this hysterical cut to him driving home like a maniac. And then them going into his bedroom, and it's just like, oh, she staked her claim. She got into the bedroom. She brought the relationship to the level she wanted it to be at. And
That's how the movie kind of like goes for the entire course. Is it's the relationship that he might not have felt comfortable with, but with her around, it's been like constant challenging. It's a power struggle.
Yeah, she wanted him
Yeah.
tender and defenseless and soft, and he wanted mommy back.
She
Yeah.
wanted to be
So-
needed.
I mean,
She
both
became
best-
nursing mommy,
She fixed him.
and yeah,
The one who got fixed.
that is so
Loosely.
brilliantly sick.
Yes.
It is, and
So-
I was happy at the end. I
So-
wasn't like, this is up.
Folks, this is always a spoiler podcast, so let's just drop the big thing about this movie, which is that halfway through, Alma, to sort of get Reynolds to a place where she feels he needs to be, sort of tender and defenseless and taken care of for once, because he refuses any and all help aside from the rituals that are designed to help him. And she begins poisoning him with poison mushrooms she finds in the forest.
It's so wonderful. And then he begins to like it,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
where it gets like, yeah.
Well, that scene with the mushroom omelet. Also, I remember the cook saying that he doesn't like too much butter on his mushrooms.
Oh,
and I
she's
watched her
putting
add
so much butter.
That's one of the best scenes. He's like, I don't like butter on my
And he
mushrooms.
was watching
Yeah, I
and
was just
chanting.
gonna say he knows exactly what she's doing, because she just keeps putting it on there. He's sitting there watching her.
Watching her
And
with the
then-
book.
And there's that shot where he takes the bite and he's just perfectly still with the fork sticking out, and you don't know if he's gonna like, I've got you, you're poisoning me. You don't know what's gonna happen. It was like it was just like the most gleeful, tension-filled 10 seconds.
When she pours the water and
Oh,
she's
yeah.
going really high with it.
She's just trying to annoy him.
And it's starting to like turn him on. He's
Yeah.
like, this is,
Well,
I'm so
he
happy.
likes the fact that she pushes back, though. Like, he gets off on it.
He's in a career where, like, you know, he's ultra famous for these dresses, and things have to be perfect, and things have to be in place, and complacent and obedient, and she's the wild card factor here.
No, Leslie Manville kept him like.
She was the grounding force.
When
yeah.
he tries to like complain to her about something, and she's just like,
Don't come
"No,
at me, I'll
Reynolds,
run through you." Yeah.
Don't pick a fight with me.
Yeah.
I will go right through you, and you'll be the one who ends up on the floor." Like,
I also wonder what his mother was like.
It was like
Very
Alma.
strong woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
That
yeah, I mean, there's that scene when you see like the ghost of his mother when he's really sick, and then Alma comes in the
Yeah.
room, and the mother's just still there in the background.
It's always fascinating to see scenes where, and I only know it predominantly in, like, you know, a lot of the anime movies and shows that I watch, of like what it's like, how people hallucinate when they're sick, like really sick during like a cold or a fever of some kind. And it's always like, it's a good way to bring about like what that person wants the most. Because when you're sick and you're lying in bed and you want to be taken care of, the first thing that comes to your mind is the person you want most. And it shows just how much you cared for that person or needed that person. So it's a perfect way to...
This is a side note. It really has nothing to do with the subject. But I learned in class the other day that you ever like go on like you've been up for 24 hours and then you happen to just stay up for like 6, 7, 8 hours more. And like there's a window of time towards the end of that where you feel kind of invincible. Like you just feel like fully like euphoric. Have you ever had that? Where you've gotten past the point of super tired and you feel like
Yes.
invincible?
Yeah, your brain starts pumping out the chemicals.
So what's going on is your brain
I feel that frequently.
thinks that the only reason you're awake is because you're being like chased by a pack of wolves and you're about to die. And so it's doing things to keep you awake, to keep you surviving. And it's actually really bad for you because there's a very finite amount of those chemicals your body has.
Is that why
And
I
when
get
I was just gonna say, let's stay up.
But we've done it. We've
Caffeinated
gone on like
Librarians
college
do the
benders
Russian
where-
sleep
Yeah,
experiment.
we're at college.
Yeah,
sounds
36
like
hours
my
to finish a term
Zoomies.
project, and yeah.
Oh, yeah, my honor senior thesis. Finished that at 3 a.m. And
That you started at 2 a.m. 2 days earlier and just went straight through.
I started at 5 p.m. the day before.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
It was a 30-page paper.
I was gonna say that's just very impressive work.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
You were focused, yeah.
I was delirious by the end of it.
So this movie was shot in, was that Robin Hood's Bay? Is that what I was looking at? That part of England?
I don't know. I don't know anything about England.
I think it's called Robin Hood's Bay. It's this part on the edge of I don't know which region it is. I forget. I think it's a Yorkshire area, but like on by the water. But they were also in Switzerland.
Yeah, when they go on their honeymoon.
But that was, so both shots are Switzerland. One of them wasn't Lake Como, Italy, right?
I don't know.
All right, yeah, me neither. Because I was like, this balcony looks eerily like that balcony from Tenet.
Okay.
But that was Lake Como, so. Anyway, I'm curious about that. And Robin Hood's Bay is just like picturesquely beautiful England. Like, I mean, every part of England is basically that, but Robin Hood's Bay is like kind of special. There's like pirate coves there. Sorry. I'm done.
Also, if we're going to talk about where they're living, or the locations and stuff, what was with that house?
It's
Like,
crazy.
how many floors was that house?
A million.
Oh,
It's at least like 3 or 4.
Bigger on the
Like a house
inside.
that takes up most of a block.
Yeah.
Like, holy
They,
crap.
like the workers just are like downstairs. Like
Yeah.
it's the whole house is just
He
Wild.
lives in a mansion.
Like, I was out of breath watching them go up the stairs, you know?
You never seen Downton Abbey?
No.
There's plenty of
Lots of stairs.
There's
So many
upstairs,
stairs.
downstairs,
Yeah.
main
Many
floors
stairs.
and top floors, and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's even
Yeah.
like the Gilded Age in America. Those are normal houses that take up an entire block of a city.
How was that show? Anybody watch that?
I am.
Now you know why
watching
everyone
it.
was skinny.
It's very good.
I was talking about like history, but yeah, the show. I
Yeah,
did.
that's
Well, there's the Gilded Age show. Yeah, they did.
so what era does the Gilded Age take
It's the
place in?
second industrial revolution. So
Yeah, that's what I was
it's,
gonna say.
So
like-
in New York, what was the years?
It'd be
It's the
1890
yeah, it's
to
the-
Yeah.
1910-ish. You could push it to like,
So-
it's essentially like post-Civil War, right before the First World War.
So Gangs in New York is taking place during the Gilded Age.
Good movie.
Yeah,
don't know
I
if
guess I
you've
don't.
Other,
it takes place
another-
right after
another
basically
Daniel Day-Lewis
right
classic.
after Lincoln
Great
ends
So
slavery.
that would
The
be
Emancipation.
right, like before.
Before it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, like John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie, that is the second industrial revolution. Well, our first, but yeah, that is the Gilded Age in America. That's why I usually say 1890 to 1910, because it's like the big boom. But it is technically right after the Civil War, just like a decade after.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
I had an obsession with the Gilded Age, so
I can understand.
I know a lot about it. And a lot about those people.
Was the Age of Innocence the Gilded Age?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is based on a work by the same author as the Gilded
Edith
Age is
Wharton.
based off of.
Mhm.
Yes.
The writer that never lets their people be together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another Daniel Day-Lewis movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta keep it all in
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with the Gilded Age.
I don't know too much about it, honestly. It seems like a fun era. I think like
think if you're white.
ridiculous, evil political boss figures are really funny. Like
Yeah.
Boss Tweed, I think
Oh,
is
yeah.
just a funny guy in concept.
Yeah,
It's just
Robert
like
Barron's
everybody
Captain
knows this guy is
Tweed.
corrupt,
Yeah.
but
Boss
The
Tweed.
propaganda and political cartoons from that era too, because it's like
They're a lot of
essentially
fun.
the boom of what we think of as tabloids now, because you have the muckrakers going in and describing what is going on and ripping these people that are captains of industry and revealing the fact, oh no, they're robber barons. They're starving people to feed themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever
Yeah.
want to know about the Gilded Age, just let me know. I also have like a 24-hour docu-series that I love very much. Some of it's wrong, but for the most part it's great.
Like you made it?
No.
Oh.
No,
I
just
wouldn't
have it.
put it past you to have made that.
No.
All right.
No, I don't.
it'd be funny if you were talking about something you made and you're like, yeah, I put some lies in there, but
The Gilded Age was my specialty in high school and then like into college. And then once I started undergrad, my first couple of years, I was focused on post-colonialism, so that pushed me out of that, and then I became an early modernist.
Post-colonialism. Last Mohicans.
Also, another Daniel Day-Lewis movie.
Daniel Day-Lewis has done everything.
you know, let's just make like a history course, make a syllabus that's just Daniel Day-Lewis
That's it.
movies.
How
much
It's like that
history
community
course on
episode,
the
but it's
history of chemical weaponry. I did teach a course on that. That was
We used to make bombs in the Troubles in the name of the Father.
Another Daniel Day-Lewis movie.
Which I absolutely love.
Daniel. What are you doing?
How can we get There Will Be Blood into this?
We've just stumbled across a
That's
conspiracy. Clearly,
I mean, he's a robber baron.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's
he's,
right.
He's right in that era. So
That's true,
you
yeah.
know,
Yep. Yep. And he didn't want people to succeed, just like his character in this movie that we watched.
Phantom
Phantom
Thread.
Thread. Another Daniel Day-Lewis movie.
That I.
the music in this movie.
was amazing.
Spot on.
So this is where I one of my struggles with P.T. Anderson, and I haven't watched all of his stuff, was that I couldn't pin down a style. But it clicked for me this one between Punch Drunk Love and Phantom Thread, how the whole movie is sweeping you along with this like kinetic, like beautiful soundtrack that's like carrying you through each frame to the next scene. So everything feels like this perfectly connected like Phantom Thread.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I really thought the music was like a guiding force through the movie, and it was, yeah, I don't know really how to describe it without saying Phantom Thread now for some reason. But
it's like they planned it.
It was. I was really, really into the music. Just a beautiful score. Yeah.
Johnny Greenwood is like one of my favorite film composers. Like, it's so cool that he's just one of the Radiohead guys. Like,
Yeah.
I like.
Wait, the same Radiohead guy that went and did the remake of Suspiria?
yeah, no, Tom York did the Suspiria soundtrack.
Oh, okay. Also a Radiohead guy.
Yes, yeah, he's the singer. Greenwood's the guitarist. And he has funny anime hair. Look him up.
So that was my connection, was Punch Drunk Love, Phantom Thread. I finally think I can see a P.T. Anderson style. The intimacy of this movie was, like, I think I would, if I ever made a movie, I would steal it's not just close-ups. They're like close-upping these things that you don't normally record in a film.
So he served as his own cinematographer for this, which is exceedingly rare. That's not really a thing directors do very often. But so his, like, the camera work in this is odd, and I love it. It's just, yeah. You can read about it on, like, Wikipedia and stuff, but, like, he pushed the film stock, so it pretty much was, like, overdeveloped to try and make it, like, look a little dirtier.
Like a 70s film.
Almost.
It had that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, he was very clear. He's like, I don't want this to be, like, a clean period piece. Like, I want this to feel, like, lived in.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
Well,
You can
definitely
see that,
felt.
actually.
Yeah.
It definitely felt that way for sure.
It was absolutely beautiful. And I tend to not really admire, like, face close-ups as, like, cinema. But I can't say that anymore, because what he did was extraordinary. And just, like, the ice of Leslie Manville's eyes, and she's always, like, put up against a bright blue sky in the background or a gray sky in the background just to pierce you even more.
Yeah. So speaking of her, the scene where Alma goes to her and says that she wants to do that surprise for Reynolds.
It's not his birthday.
Yeah. And she was like, I strongly advise against that. And you're sitting there like, this like, just let her surprise him. And then the surprise happens, it completely backfires, and you're like, oh, maybe she was like looking out for her. Because,
She's
like,
very fond of Alma.
Well,
yeah.
yes, exactly. Later on,
Yeah.
she is fond of Alma.
Yeah, Cyril's just tough, but, like, she does like Alma.
Yeah.
And also, I think that needed to happen because Alma was going to not be like the rotation of every other person in his life. She was going to break all his molds.
The dinner scene is just such, like, a breaking point in this movie. Well, I saw this in theaters, like, opening night, and it was one of the best theater experiences I've had, because, like, when it started, people were, like, tense. People were like, what is happening? What is going on? Is this a psychological thriller? What's going on here? And then gradually people started, like, nervously laughing. And then around the dinner scene, when he shows up at the top of the stairs with, like, his pajamas on and then a vest and a suit, like, people were like, okay. And then, of course, the whole asparagus incident, and
I'm also kind of sympathetic to him for that because asparagus with oil and salt is much better than with butter.
I tend to agree.
Yeah.
But still,
It depends.
you know.
I would not admire my own gallantry for eating it like that.
He also only took one bite.
Yeah, and he's playing with it, like, examining it, like,
What else has Alma been in? I've never seen her before.
She was in Old after this. I'm not. I think she's been in, like, European stuff mainly.
Okay. She's very, very good. Like, and I love
It's
that. Like,
pretty amazing to be, like, a young, pretty new actress and go up against Daniel Day-Lewis
right?
and
Yeah.
come out, like, looking great.
I imagine he's like such a team player in that sense. Like, he's method, but he really connects with a person in a moment in a scene and elevates them, is my guess. But then again, I say that, but he got absolutely annihilated by Leslie Manville. Like, she basically, as an actor talent, almost put him in his slot. Said, "Here you go, young man, stay there."
It's funny that you say that too, because that was one of the things that I was thinking about the whole time. Like all I know about Daniel Day-Lewis is that he's a method actor. Like, yeah, that's what they always say about him. So, like, I was like, is he like during filming this? Was he like in a trailer somewhere, like, demanding like, asparagus with salt and oil and
or just being like standoffish to
yeah,
everybody.
I was actually like, I'm curious about that.
So there's this one scene in the beginning where he's polishing his shoe. He actually quit acting before for like 6 years or something and went to Italy and learned how to be a cobbler.
Really?
Yeah.
What a
Amazing.
great
So
second
he
act.
actually genuinely is a apparently high-level cobbler in real life.
Wow.
He's clearly a man of many skills at this
Well, I
point.
mean, after this movie, he retired from acting. So.
And his sister, brilliant chef, has like all these really good Tamaz and Day-Lewis. Yeah, really good cookbooks.
Wow. I had no idea.
Fun fact about Dan. Do we go into favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performances?
I just want to talk about a really good blooper from this movie, which is crazy that a movie like this has any bloopers. But,
I would hope it does.
but there's one part where it's like them at breakfast, they start having a food fight, and it's hysterical. I highly recommend looking it up.
It's just like all right. That's not a deleted scene. That's a blooper.
I think it's a blooper.
Okay.
And he's like in character?
Yeah, he's in
Oh,
character
wow.
as Reynolds. Like, they all pretty much keep character.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Leslie Manville, by the way, if you want to see her being brilliant again, it's this 6-part BBC series called River. It's with Stellan Skarsgård and Nicola Walker. And you'd think it's just going to be some, like, cop procedural, but it's really, really deep. It came out in like 2015, 2016. It's beautiful. And Leslie Manville crushes it. And she crushes it as Princess Margaret in the last couple seasons of The Crown.
Oh. I still have to watch The Crown.
She was very good in Mrs.
right.
Harris Goes to Paris.
She was really good in that really bad movie. You know what's frustrating? Let's talk about that for a second. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris was filmed entirely in, that big city in Hungary, Budapest.
Oh.
Wasn't Paris.
Oh, that's weird.
And it didn't look like Paris. It looked like we were in ancient Ottoman Central Europe city. And
Well, I mean, yeah.
is that Paris?
What? No.
I've been to
Budapest.
Budapest, and
Yeah.
I can honestly tell you it does not look like Paris at all.
I hated that movie so much. So the reason why, she was great. She was lovely. The whole movie comes down to it's supposed to be the story about how, she's like the savant. She's, can do all these things. She's lovely. She strengthens the team. They go into the office at the end to talk to the bosses, the 2 male bosses. And we're supposed to be happy because they're like, okay, ladies, get out of here. We'll figure this out. And the 2 men make the decisions for everyone at the end. I'm just like, this is the solve? This is the happy ending? The whole thing about empowering, like, this person who was just a simple, good, gifted human being, and all these hardworking women in the shop, and they were literally like, get out, ladies.
I don't know anything about Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris aside from the name and Leslie Manville, but I have one friend who's a big Mrs. Harris head, and he's going to be very upset with you.
It's a very popular book series.
He's a big Mrs. Harris head. He's going to be like, wait a minute, that's a pretty good point.
He's like, Ben's right.
Mind blown.
But Leslie
I've never
Manville
seen
was lovely in it,
Yes.
as she always is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performance? I'm a huge fan of There Will Be Blood. I love that movie.
He really does like playing really disreputable human beings.
Yeah.
Imagine it's fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's always fun to be like the villain.
I'm probably gonna
Villains
have
have better character building, in my opinion. I hate hero characters.
to. I don't know. I
Boring.
swear, like his character in Last of the Mohicans. And granted, looking back on it, it's a story about Native Americans, but really it's about a white guy running through the woods. Is still like, I think that like was one of those characters that made me like really want to be involved in movies and acting and all that. Like
Well,
he was just so cool.
My
white guy
favorite, and
running
I
through
don't
the
have a favorite. I have 2 favorites, and it's The Last of the Mohicans and In the Name of the Father.
What about The Boxer?
I don't think I saw The Boxer.
Yes. His next movie with that same director. They did the 3 movies together.
Which movie? Which?
Jim Sheridan. So he did My Left Foot, In the Name of the Father, and The Boxer.
Okay.
And they all, The Boxer's also about the Troubles, but it's in the 90s. and
Okay.
it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I should watch it.
I've only seen 2 of his movies, and that would be this one and Lincoln. So I don't think
I never saw Lincoln.
Lincoln was good.
he's phenomenal in it.
Yeah.
That was
Without
that,
Lincoln.
That's that era of Steven Spielberg where I feel like
Just didn't know.
he just, every time I put a movie on of his in that era, it's like, it's Sudafed.
Lincoln's good.
Sudafed that works.
Lincoln's good. He had a rough 2010s.
Well, it's
I will not
Didn't we
deny.
talk
War
about
Horse.
Lincoln
he
earlier
was in The
on when I
Crucible.
started on the podcast because I saw it in my AP US history class, and one of the girls in my class got really upset that someone told her Lincoln dies at the end.
Wow. Wow.
I mean,
glad
do
I
they
didn't
actually
catch
show
that.
that part in the movie?
Yeah.
It seems like
Yeah.
a silly thing to add. It's about his accomplishments as a. They actually end with the.
I don't remember. How
I mean, I don't-
ends,
I mean,
but
Six
think
Semper
it's, like,
Tyrannis, but
Yeah.
that, but
It's
yeah.
like implied that.
Well, you see, like there's
Yeah.
a hole in his head.
Mhm.
So.
The whole movie?
That's the big twist. Is
Yeah.
that
He's been dead the whole time.
or is
Yeah.
oh God, what's the assassin's name? I can't remember now. Booth.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
John
twist
William
is
Booth?
didn't do it. He just his head was like that.
Yeah. That's what the
It's just like an Oliver Stone version of Lincoln.
Oh my god.
I think we need to give Oliver Stone another like cool $500 million to make a wildly insane conspiracy movie.
His JFK is getting a 4K Blu-ray release this month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
It's-
Oliver Stone's a blind spot for me. I've only seen a handful of his stuff.
I've only seen Alexander.
I love that one though.
That's a good one.
Is it Alexander? Is it the director's cut? Is it Alexander Revisited, or is it Alexander the final cut?
I only saw Alexander.
I've seen the director's cut. Is the only one I've seen.
Well, Alexander Revisited is the best
Who
rendition.
revisited it?
Oliver Stone.
Oh.
And he recut it. He reshaped the sequences and added about 48 minutes to the
Oh.
movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's on because my sister is obsessed. So we have that gigantic box set with everything in it.
The Ultimate Edition.
I think so.
Well, that's the good one. Yeah, that's like the top tier one. It has Alexander Revisited, and they shaved about 2 minutes off. Yeah.
By the way, speaking of history, how good does the Napoleon movie look?
I don't even care if it's going to be terrible. It's Ridley Scott, and that's my
You think
hero.
it's going to be bad?
I think it's going to be. I think it's so. This is what always happens with Ridley Scott historical epics. He releases it in theaters, and people go,
Oh, yeah?
and then he releases his 4-hour director's cut, and everyone's like, "This is great."
Yeah.
So he did it with Kingdom of Heaven. Even like Robin Hood had like a 25-minute longer director's cut that people were like, "This one doesn't suck." And he did it with oh God, what's another one that the Ridley Scott director's cut is like always
Better.
superior. The
Why don't-
Counselor.
Why don't they
was-
just let him do his thing then?
Well,
They will
he's-
never let him cook.
And I think honestly, I think after Kingdom of Heaven bombed at the box office, something broke in him, and he just became an efficiency monster.
Oh, yeah.
And just became out making as many movies as he can and making it as digestible as possible. So even movies like Prometheus got kind of less
That's
good
true, yeah.
because
I
he
just-
eliminated this entire axe battle between Elizabeth Shaw and the engineer,
Yeah.
and because he said, well, no, it would make the engineer look weak. It's like, well, no, dude, he just crash landed.
Yeah.
He's okay to be messed up. I don't know. I could go on this forever.
I wish he would lay off the color grading a bit.
It does look
Let the
blue.
colors
Yeah.
glow.
Yeah.
He did that when he made a Blu-ray of Kingdom of Heaven. Everything was literally blue. It's so ugly. And then he fixed it later on. But I'm going to see it on day one. I think Ridley Scott movies are like my happy place.
Yeah.
But I think when he releases his 4-hour version on Apple TV,
Yeah.
that's going to be great.
You're going to buckle up for that.
I can see it now. Sorry, I feel like I'm commandeering this. I'm going to stop talking after this. They're going to eliminate basically most of Vanessa Kirby's character in the theatrical cut. And then we're going to find out that she was actually more important than Napoleon in the 4-hour cut.
Oh, yeah.
That's my prediction.
Yeah.
In the trailer, she's pretty prominent.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's prominent in the trailer. Let's see if they...
I haven't seen the trailer. I try not to watch trailers anymore.
I feel like my experience with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning was like amplified to level 10 because I refused to watch the trailer.
Yeah. These trailers usually give a lot away lately.
We only watch the first one, and then we don't do it. If we're excited for it, just watch the one trailer, but when it comes, like the first trailer that
Like
comes
the
up,
teaser?
and then leave it alone.
I have a question for you. So there's
Yes.
apparently a lot of historians are going hard at Ridley Scott right now for not following the proper history
Oh,
of
okay.
Napoleon. And so some battle,
Uh-huh.
there's like a myth of Napoleon, of something he did that isn't really true. But Ridley Scott apparently saw this myth and was like, we're going with it. We're doing it.
Do that.
What is the myth? That's your homework.
That's my homework. You're gonna make
Let
me.
us know in the next
You're
episode.
talking to the girl whose history is like medieval history, and yet you're talking about Napoleon.
Modernist.
What's
would
the
be
myth?
Annalisa.
That's your homework.
I'm like, her knowledge.
Really
Please report back.
Yeah.
She could do homework too, but
I focus on women's healthcare, so I will.
you know, there's a Google
look
search.
into
Why don't you
I'm gonna
Google
Google
it,
it.
Amanda?
I'm just
I don't
looking
need
at
Well,
Napoleon.
the
Napoleon.
one
Maybe-
myth that everyone believes about Napoleon is that he was short, but he was 5'7".
Yeah, he was actually average height for a man back then.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Maybe-
he made some really horrible decisions.
Yeah.
You know what-
Unless the myth
Strategically,
is
but-
that he, in the tricks, I only saw it in the trailer, is that he lured an opposing force onto a frozen.
That is
Is
in
it
the
the
trailer.
Sphinx?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They stole that
And he didn't
from
do that?
King Arthur in 2004, by the way.
In the frozen lake, and then bombarded the lake with cannon fire.
Did he not do that?
That does not sound.
That
real.
doesn't sound like
No,
anything
that
he
does
did.
not sound something that's even like logical for him to have done.
No.
Also doesn't sound like something Ridley Scott would do to his own English because
This is the
he
same.
always
There's
makes
the
fun
one
of the
about
French.
Sphinx's
Unless-
nose,
unless it's
that
when
he
he's
shot off
in
the
Russia.
Sphinx's nose.
Unless that's when Napoleon tries to invade Russia, and it's
And
a
then he
complete
freezes-
disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
freezes
what won
his
me
army to
over
death.
the second trailer? Don't watch it, but you should watch it because there's this shot of them entering near the pyramids, and you see the pyramids in a lot of
Well,
films.
that's probably what Amanda's talking about. Then that might be.
Yeah, there's the rumor that he shot off the nose of the Sphinx.
Which is not true.
No, but there's
Which is not true.
there's nothing's actually happening. It's just this beautiful shot of them, like him riding on a horse as the pyramids are like rising like in front of him. It's just that's why I love Ridley Scott. He figures out these ways to give you something that you've seen 1,000 times, but now it feels new and fresh and mighty. And yeah, you'll get into this when he's gone. He's 86. He doesn't have many movies left.
Battle, but that was false.
After this, his movie's Gladiator 2, and then he's doing a Western.
Interesting. Okay.
And he's going to be 90. He's probably going to retire. I'm done. I'm sorry, guys. I talked too much today.
My favorite Daniel Day-Lewis film. I've
9.
only ever seen 2 or 3 at this point. Gangs of New York is really good. He was in The Crucible as John Proctor in
He
the
was.
1996 movie
He
too.
was in the Crucible.
So I
yeah,
have
there's that
seen
one.
3.
So special mention there. Sorry, I've been waiting to say that
drop
one.
I think
I was the only one that didn't say it, so I'm over here like,
Crucible was written by Daniel Day-Lewis's father-in-law.
Was it really?
man, there's this controversy around
Wait.
Daniel Day-Lewis for
He's
married to
friends.
Rebecca Miller.
I'm
Oh.
everything's connected.
Because there's our father.
Stick with me. I'll teach you things.
Yeah, I had no clue. But yeah, this is probably my favorite Daniel Day-Lewis role. If I'm being honest, yeah.
He was wonderful. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, he was also really good in one of my other favorite movies, Room with a View. Even though he's not the star of that movie.
I feel like
But,
that movie's
Yeah.
lovely.
uh-huh.
Read the book, but
Yeah.
I feel like Martin Scorsese watched A Room with a View and was like, we need to take this character and make him sexy.
Yeah.
And then he made Age of Innocence.
Age of Innocence, yeah.
yeah, actually, that's a fair assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Make him hotter.
Yeah, just take this guy, make him hot. Although,
Make him hot.
and then after, no, it was between that, there was the movie Unbearable Lightness of Being, where it was like him and Lena Olin, and it was in Prague during
I'm
Cold
gonna
War.
be honest. That title makes me not like the movie on sight. I don't know anything about it, but
Never heard of it, but
I don't know
haven't seen
anything
it,
about
but
it.
I know
I
what
don't
you're
like
talking about.
one of those the tiny things we know to be true kind of titles that are just like,
Things We
yeah,
Lost in the Fire.
Yeah, like this doesn't feel real.
Nandor, Fandor, and the... I forget the name of that It's a long title. Thank you for laughing.
I was just the name itself, Nandor Fandor, and I'm like, that sounded like something you made up for a second. But if it's a real movie, then that's it. We're looking it up. Nandor.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. All those movies that wouldn't be good unless they had a long title.
I really like Everything Everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good.
Nandor,
Yeah, I love that
Fodor,
movie.
and the Talking Mongoose.
That's what it was.
It was a this year film.
Oscars. We've hit our impasse. We out of thoughts? Did we digress too much from Phantom Thread?
I mean, we can bring it back if we'd like.
Let's reel it back in. Let's talk about
How crazy is that breakfast order?
Oh, I know. Literally anything.
Made me hungry.
Yeah, I'm like,
Everything makes me hungry. Any like
Welsh
scene of
rarebit with a
food.
poached egg on
It
top.
felt wasteful, so, you know.
Why are you ordering these?
Why are you
food?
ordering the entire menu, sir? You're one person.
You're not Gordon
sir.
Ramses. You're not trying to
But-
find
Well,
your
he's
next
testing her,
kitchen
right?
nightmare.
and those,
He's a hungry boy.
Well, that's-
Hungry
I
boy.
think- Yeah, he was
I
testing.
sympathize.
Yeah.
and those scones looked glorious.
Yeah.
Having a scone like that with some clotted cream looking out that window at the
And a
Robin
nice
Hood's
hot
Bay.
cup of tea.
Yeah.
When he has his temper tantrum at
Not to
breakfast,
digress.
though, and just takes a one bite and then just throws his food down, I'm like, what a waste.
You don't want it?
That's-
I'll
With
eat it.
clotted cream.
He's an ass. That's just
Yeah.
that's him.
There's an
Yeah.
argument online that people say that he like if you take like his behavior would show that he's autistic in some form, that he's
I've
on the
seen a lot of
spectrum.
readings
Yeah,
on that.
I was
I
looking up
actually
some
saw
stuff
that
about
too,
it. Yeah, and I thought it was an interesting assessment as to why he's so like, you know, he's picky on the details and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can
I think
see
there's a
it,
little bit
too.
more to him than it's like I know I have some friends who are on the spectrum who like, you know, they have a schedule and they have things the way that they like them, and when things are disrupted, it's like, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah.
It can cause like the world to like crumble,
Mm-hmm.
the world that you know. But you know,
Theory, though.
it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to say whether if he's on the spectrum or not because of how he acts with all.
Yeah.
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 It's almost like a oh.
Yeah.
Just a horrible person.
Is she challenging my authority right now?
Yeah, but let's be fair. They're both horrible people.
Yeah, I mean, she is poisoning him.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say she
So-
does
Yeah.
poison him. So.
She's just trying
And she also
settle him
manipulates
down.
him just as much as he
They're just
manipulates her.
two
and-
crazy kids.
It's
In love.
delightful,
Yep.
though.
Love? I'd call it codependency.
Who are we to say what love is to another couple? You know, some couples, go to the movies. Other couples poison each other. That's just
They're
how.
so
But it's like she's only poisoning him with, I assume, I don't know full spectrum of like mushroom
Not
types,
lethal.
but
Are
a
you about to say
non-lethal.
she's only poisoning him with mushrooms?
She's just making him sick with the
fact
mushroom.
that she's poisoning him in general.
She's not trying to
He will
murder him.
not die.
Yeah.
She's
they have the
solidifying.
doctor on call. He knows it.
Quit.
He's too famous. She knows that. I think she knows that he's too famous to like just murder him
and they
outright.
looked so happy together in the end, and that was like the
Yeah.
sickest part.
The scene where they have the bathroom covered in newspapers
Yeah.
because he's about to vomit everywhere. is just
Oh God.
Yeah.
I love
It's hilarious. though.
Joseph.
the fancy rich man just needs it every once in a while, you know?
I love romances that take these kind of like sick dark turns because in a world of like so many romance movies where it's like oh happy endings and oh like cutesy romantic and cute favors, I'm like I hate it. It makes me want to
This
vomit.
was a happy ending.
This was a happy ending brought about by such underhanded and sick means. It's like it starts off very like interesting and then it turns into her like just poisoning him because she wants to solidify the fact that like she wants to feel needed and wanted, and to keep her there she will make him sick in order to do so, he clearly wants a mother figure in his life, or at least a woman who will challenge the authority, that will be there to also take care of him when he needs it. A mother figure, a strong mother figure. And they both feel the need in a sick, twisted way, and I love it. I love seeing romance that is just uprooted, and it's not as, like, you know, innocent and perfect, or, you know,
it was perfect,
happy as it should be. It's sometimes it's sick and it's twisted, and the lengths you go.
The film thinks it's tender.
The film takes such a tender look.
It was actually another strangely, like, uplifting, happy ending movie was Midsummer.
I still haven't seen that.
You're just like,
Brian
this
never
is
saw
kind
the
of
end
great,
it.
isn't it?
He fell asleep.
Like,
I mean,
yeah, you're actually really, really happy for the
her
person.
boyfriend gets God, and she's just taking
And
shrooms
she
with a bunch
has
of
shed
weirdo
all of her
Dressed
trauma.
up in a bunch of flowers.
And it's,
Okay.
yeah.
Who was a jerk to her from the start, who was going to break up with her, but then chickened out on it.
You've seen
because her
Midsummer?
whole family
I saw somebody
asphyxiated
did a
themselves.
suicide.
Yeah.
No.
I say that doesn't seem like your cup of tea.
But also,
No.
I mean, he
It
was...
sounds like a movie I would
Yeah.
watch, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I wanted to.
It's a movie about the dangers of toxic relationships, where Phantom Thread is a movie about the benefits.
They embrace it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
We all do
Nice
some
outside
weird
of
thing
that.
for our significant
That's
other.
our
Hers is just
that's
poisoning.
our promo for it right there. Yeah.
Gotta learn what kind of mushrooms
Okay,
those are.
this is such a minor character, but can we talk about Barbara Rose?
Is that the one the drunk who wanted the dress?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah.
That she then goes in and undresses to take the dress back because it's embarrassing to have her wear.
She's asleep. Oh, I don't see what that has to do with it. And then just in the dress.
That
Yeah.
was so...
God
yeah.
forbid, right?
But that's like, that brought them closer together because
Yeah.
someone cared about his work as much as he did.
I love when they're just at the wedding, so mad.
And
her evil husband, who was profiteering off of the Holocaust.
that's what that was,
Yeah.
selling passports.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fake passwords.
I should have picked up on that while watching. Yeah.
How dare you not pick up on that?
Yeah.
How dare you? Shame on you.
Yeah.
SNL.
Yeah, like I said, without this podcast, it's probably a movie I would never have watched.
It looks like such a stuffy, like,
Yeah.
Oscar bait movie, and then you get into it and you're like, oh no, this is a lie.
I saw the trailer
I'm
and
so glad that I got an excuse to watch it.
I saw the trailer and I think I thought the same thing as everybody else, where I was like, oh, this is going to be like a dark, like, psychological thriller. And then I forced Brian and his parents to watch it with me because I don't recommend movies to people because I'm always like, I have bad taste and I know it. I have fun bad taste and I know it. And I was like, oh, Phantom Thread seems like my kind of movie. I don't know. Let's jump out my box a little bit. And they hated it. They hated the movie. I was the only one sitting in that room by the end of this whole thing where I was like, I like this movie. I'm like, this movie was great. And then like his mom didn't care for it.
I was like enthralled. Like it did the same thing to me that the second Spider-Verse movie did. Like, I just
And then it let you
couldn't stop looking at it. I was stunned. I didn't even pause it.
And then you got mad because then they like stopped it at such a good crucial moment. And now I have to wait like 2 years.
There's no chance.
Oh,
2
that movie's
years.
coming out in like 5 years.
Yeah, it's like that's me 2028.
Yeah,
much worse.
they lied to those to us. They were like, "Oh, it's gonna come out next year. Don't worry." And then the animators were like, "What are you talking about? We have not
Are
even
you
started."
nuts?
Yeah, that movie. So, but Phantom Thread did that to me. And when I saw the trailer for this movie years back, I was like, why is Daniel Day-Lewis ending his career on some stuffy,
Yeah.
boring
Pretentious.
Little did you
dressmaker
know.
movie?
Little did
I
you know.
Never doubt P.T.
Was a
Anderson.
movie where he loved to eat poison.
Yeah, just mushrooms. Thank you again for listening in on the Caffeinated Librarians podcast. We look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about 10 Things I Hate About You as we finish up our romantic comedy series. So get excited. We'll see you next week.